morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at a new supporter card, which is going to absolutely make a difference. Put bluntly, this looks an awful lot like a supporter card that we have seen an awful lot of over the past couple of years. It is Melanie. Melanie, of course, being a gym leader from Sirchester that only pops up in Pokemon Shield. In Pokemon Sword, it is, of course, her son Gordy that takes her place instead. Well, she's an Ice-type gym leader. There is no such thing as Ice-type in a trading card game. They come through as Water-type with a Metal weakness. And if you want to play Water decks, things are starting to look very, very good indeed. According to the lovely Antoine Boulet, of course our translation comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet here. Antoine, we should say, finished top 4 at this big tournament yesterday where this card was revealed, because Antoine is both awesome, very lovely, great translation, and legitimately one of the very best Pokemon players in Japan, and I don't think that's even in question at this stage. What Melody does is you attach a water energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon V, and then draw 3 cards. Nice! It's very, very similar to Welder. Now, it's not entirely the same as Welder. Welder, of course, attaches 2 energy from your hand. This attaches 1 energy from your discard. They are not the same, but it's a supporter card that attaches energy and draws 3 cards. That's kind of ridiculous. I mean, there's no reason at this stage to play something like... I mean, no one's playing Hop anyway, to be fair. Although, then again, maybe if you don't have any water energy in the discard, you can't attach it, and therefore you can't draw 3 cards. And the ruling on cards like this generally tends to be that it is you attach, then draw, i.e. you're not able to just use it to draw 3 cards. So, I suppose maybe there's a tiny downside, but no. I mean, this reminds me a lot of another fire-type supporter card. That was Blacksmith. Blacksmith attached 2 fire energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon, but it didn't draw you 3 cards. It just did the attachment, and it had to be to a fire. One of the cool things about Melanie here is that you can do this to any Pokemon V. It doesn't have to be a Water-type Pokemon V. Any Pokemon V that uses colorless energy would be fine. I mean, my boy Regirock, who I've tried to make work, and I think at this stage I've got to admit that it's never going to happen, and that makes me a little sad, but that's fighting colorless. So I could use Melanie here to attach water energy from my discard pile to Regirock, and then go ahead and draw 3 cards. That is going to be awesome. Of course, it does, for a couple, like 6 weeks till it rotates out, it does give a slight boost to Arceus and Dialga and Palkia. Now, obviously, that's a Pokemon GX. You cannot use Melanie to attach to ADP, but you can use it to attach somewhere else and then energy switch in the same way that we use Metal Saucer or Zacian's ability and then energy switch. So, you might see some people taking advantage of that, which is obviously a little bit sad, but hey-ho, these things happen. And a quick reminder of the ruling, Pokemon V Maxes do count as Pokemon V. They are essentially a subset of Pokemon V. And this brings me to Inteleon. Now, Inteleon did very, very well at this giant tournament in Japan this weekend. It at least got top 4. Might have made the final, but it at least got top 4. I think it did make the final. I think it came second. And there was that 2,000-person tournament in Taiwan a couple of weeks ago, where it did have multiple places in Top Cut. Inteleon is basically now a very good deck, and that is pretty much a thing. Well, the big attack on Inteleon V Max is Max Bullet. 3 energy, 160 damage to the active, 60 to one of your opponent's bench. Well, all of a sudden, that's an attachment turn 1, and then turn 2 is an attachment Melanie Go. That's good. Now, of course, at this stage, we should probably remind ourselves that Frosmoth is a thing. And a whole bunch of people are going to ask the question, and it is a completely fair question to ask. Do we even care about this in a world where we've got Frosmoth? Now, I should mention at this stage, and this is pretty important, Frosmoth is almost certainly going to rotate out in August-September 2022. Melanie will be in the game for about a year longer than Frosmoth. But that's still going to give us just over a year where we've got the pair of them in the game. Do we need Frosmoth and Melanie? Frosmoth, of course, stage 1 Pokemon, lets you attach as much water energy as you like during your turn. And the answer is yes, for a whole bunch of reasons. You might not have Frosmoth. Your only Snom may have gotten KO'd. You may be under ability lock. Now, at the moment, evolved non-rule box Pokemon are pretty much the only ones that are safe from ability lock, given the cards we've got and we've seen. But you never know what's going to happen in the future. So you're not relying on an ability, and you don't have to get a stage 1 Pokemon off. And of course, this attaches from the discard pile, whereas Frosmoth attaches from your hand. So you've got all kinds of different things going on. And yes, I know you can always use Nessa and get that energy back, and then attach it straight away. That is a fair point. But then you've got to play Nessa as your supporter for the turn. You're not drawing any cards with your supporter. And sure, you're getting more energy, but if you only need one, I would rather have Melanie and get those extra draw cards as well. Sure, I can use Turbo Patch as an item card, but that's on a coin flip. And once I get up to VMAXs, that's not good enough. And sure, when I get up to VMAXs, I can use Rose. And Rose will allow me to attach 2 energy from my discard to a Pokemon VMAX. But instead of drawing 3 cards, I'm discarding my entire hand. Now, sometimes you desperately need those 2 energy, but if you can get away with just 1 energy, I would much rather draw 3 cards than discard my entire hand, and I'm willing to bet that basically everyone agrees with me in that regard. I don't think Melanie is going to be as impactful as Welder. The thing with Welder was there are so many Pokemon out there, like Reshiram and Charizard, like Talonite V, that have attacks for free energy. I mean, Blacephalon would be another one that saw a huge amount of play. And essentially, free energy in these terms is Welder, attach for turn, go. And then, of course, we've had Giant Half. And Giant Half means that we can essentially search out 2 energy, and then we just need 1 in our hand, and that's the free, and you make draw 1 off of a Welder, etc. Melanie is not quite at that level, because you've got to have the energy in your discard, which is not quite as good early doors, and because you only attaches 1 energy, so you're talking 2 energy attacks rather than 3. But make no mistake about it, being not quite as good, and it is quite close, as one of the very best supporter cards we've probably ever seen, does not make this in any way, shape or form a disappointing card. I mean, I showed you Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX yesterday, and I probably should have mentioned Melody in the video yesterday. I didn't, it was deliberate, but I'm starting to think I should have done so. My apologies. But that's got an attack for 2 water energy that does 10 damage, and you can discard the water energy from it, and do 120 for each one discarded. So essentially, 2 energy, discard them both 250, that's clearly a very nice attack. But then you've got no water energy on there. So what you really need to do is get 2 water energy back in a single turn. But you only need to get 2 energy back. You see where we're going with this, ladies and gentlemen? We are just going for this. Because now, this will get 1 energy, you attach for your turn, and then you are off and rolling, and life is good. Think about something like Blastoise VMAX. Free energy, 120 damage, but then you search your deck for free water energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way that you like. Well, your bench Pokemon anyway. But Blastoise needs 1 extra energy attachment. That's it. That is all Blastoise needs. 1 extra energy, and that will sort it out for the entire game. Because then you start accelerating using Blastoise. So in a deck like that, you don't necessarily need Frosmoth, you just need 1 extra energy in the first 2 turns, because remember, it's going to take you a turn to VMAX, and that's it, then you're off and rolling. Well, stop me, ladies and gentlemen, but I'd rather have 1 of these than having to hit heads on a turbo patch. And that's kind of my point. There are going to be very energy-hungry water decks that are clearly not going to want to use this, and they're going to go to Frosmoth instead, and you know what? That is absolutely fine by me. But there are going to be plenty of decks that just need that 1 extra energy here or there, and this will help beautifully. Even in Frosmoth decks, I think this should be at least a 1 or a 2 of, because it is going to help you out in some games, and there's going to be games where Frosmoth gets KO'd, or you can't get it out, or it's prized, or whatever, and this is going to have your back. I don't imagine water decks not playing this, and maybe it's not going to be a 4 of in every water deck like Welder was for fire decks, but I certainly expect this to be very, very widely played. You know, take something like an Empoleon V. All of a sudden, you've got Melanie plus Rapid Strike energy, and oh look, now you've actually paid the entire cost of it in one turn fairly easily and drawn some cards. This is a very good card. And I know I keep using water examples, but remember, this will work for any Pokemon that uses water or colourless energy. I'm giving it between 4 and 5 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. This is phenomenal for water decks. Expect to see a lot of this moving forward. At least that's what I think. I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts. Me nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.